Ross Miami McGill just walked free from a Dubai jail. The same man accused of firebombings, cocaine deals, and igniting one of the most violent gang wars Scotland's ever seen. But he was not alone. Alongside him, Steven Lyons, Jamieson, and Steven Larwood have been released. These are Scotland's underworld elite, and now they are all free. All told to get out of Dubai and never come back. But where do crime lords go when even Dubai doesn't want them? What are they planning next? If you think this story ended in a Dubai jail cell, you haven't been paying attention. It all came crashing down on the 16th of September 2025. Dubai police launched a dawn sweep across luxury villas and apartments. By the end of that morning, 8 people were in custody. 4 men, 4 women. The women were quietly released and the men were taken straight to Alawiya prison. This prison is a place that sends shivers even in Dubai. Among those who were arrested were Ross Miami McGill, Steven Lyons, Steven Jamieson, and Steven Larwood. Let's be clear, this was not a gentle arrest. Alawiya is one of the UAE's toughest prisons, overcrowded and harsh. For days, nothing came out. Families back home in Scotland could only guess what was happening, but recently we got the news that the men are not headed for trial. They are being expelled, ordered to leave the UAE, and banned from coming back. This decision has been made because Dubai is changing now. For years, it was a magnet for European gangsters. Money flowed in this luxurious city, and nobody asked too many questions. Men like McGill thought they had found the perfect hideaway. But times have changed. In February 2024, the UAE was taken off the FATF grey list. In October 2024, it signed a new extradition treaty with Ireland, activated in May 2025. And in that same month, Kinahan cartel boss Sean McGovern was actually extradited back to Dublin. It was something nobody thought Dubai would ever allow. That was the signal. The city was done being the Costa del Crime. So when McGill and Lyons and Jamieson brought Scotland's blood feud to Dubai, the tolerance ended. Let's not forget the violence that started this. Since March 2025, under Operation Portaledge, police in Scotland have linked over 80 violent attacks to McGill's crew, Tamo Junto. Homes torched with petrol bombs, cars set alight outside front doors, shots fired through windows with families inside. Entire neighbourhoods have been living in fear. The feud started with a £500,000 fake cash cocaine deal in Edinburgh. McGill believed he had been tricked. His answer was war. By summer, nearly 60 arrests had been made in Scotland, but the violence didn't stop there. On the 31st of May 2025, 2 of Lyons' closest men, Eddie Lyons Jr. and Ross Monaghan, were gunned down in Spain while watching the Champions League final in Fuengirola. A masked shooter came into the bar and left 2 bodies bleeding on the floor. Then, something happened that Dubai couldn't ignore. On the 10th of July 2025, inside one of the city's most exclusive gyms, Jamieson spotted McGill lifting weights. He lost it. He stormed across the floor and lunged at him. Staff pulled them apart and managed to stop the fight. Jimmy was angry at all the violence in Scotland being orchestrated by Ross while being in Dubai. He was afraid that Ross's action would draw attention to all the drug lords hiding in Dubai. For the UAE, enough was enough. The raids happened in September. The gang leaders were locked in Alawiya, and by the end of the month, they were put on planes. Different flights, different destinations. McGill was even dropped in Abu Dhabi and left to arrange his own exit. But exile doesn't mean safety. It means uncertainty. And when men like McGill and Lyons are cut loose, the real danger begins. The war is not over. It has just moved to a new map. So where do they go now? These are not small-time crooks who can just disappear. These are men who ran multi-million-pound cocaine routes, laundered fortunes, and ordered firebombings from Dubai penthouses. Forced out of the UAE, they need a new safe ground. The first and most obvious stop is Spain's Costa del Sol. Marbella, Fuengirola, and Malaga are the names that have been tied to British and Irish gangsters for decades. Villas with gates, expat neighbourhoods where nobody asks too many questions, and plenty of old smuggling contacts. For Lyons' crew, it's familiar ground. But after the Fuengirola double murder on May 31, Spain's police are under pressure. Surveillance is tighter, joint operations with UK detectives are active, and the days of openly living in Marbella mansions are gone. If they go back, they will be living in short-term rentals, burner phones in hand, always one step away from being spotted. But Spain is not the only card. Turkey and Northern Cyprus are becoming serious options. Turkey's cash for passport scheme has already been exploited by Balkan and Irish traffickers. Once you hold a Turkish passport, extradition becomes far more complicated. Northern Cyprus goes even further. The territory is not recognized internationally, so it doesn't extradite to the UK at all. For men like Larwood, who allegedly moved £3 million a month through Spanish networks, that's appealing. They can hide behind shell companies, invest in property, and move money through crypto channels, but it's never safe. When you depend on corrupt fixers, you are only protected until someone higher up sells you out. The third route leads into the Balkans. Montenegro, Serbia, and Albania are the regions where cocaine and heroin routes flow into Europe, and where corruption buys you breathing space. McGill and Lyons both have connections there through old European trafficking pipelines. The appeal is obvious. They can build safe houses in port cities, invest in cash businesses like car dealerships or construction companies to launder money, and this way, they will have proximity to Europe markets. But the Balkans come with their own wars. Rival clans are already fighting bloody feuds. Outsiders can be pulled in as pawns or picked off as threats. For strategists like Lyons, the Balkans are opportunity and danger rolled into one. Then there is South America. This is where the real power lies. Control the supply, control the trade. McGill's network has already been linked to South American sources through James the Don White. Countries like Brazil, Colombia, and Paraguay are natural hubs. If McGill sets up there, he doesn't need turf back in Scotland. He just needs port access, local labs, and trusted corridors into Europe. That's high reward, but also high risk. Local cartels don't protect loud foreigners. One mistake, one wrong alliance, and you are finished. It's also possible they split. Lyons could anchor in Turkey with paperwork protection. Larwood could manage Balkan finance and laundering. Jamieson could reconnect in Spain, handling logistics. McGill could dive straight into South America, chasing supply. Together, they would be a dispersed but connected network. Distance equals deniability. If one cell falls, the rest survive. That's how modern crime syndicates operate. And make no mistake, their methods are evolving. It's not just about bricks of cocaine and street dealers anymore. In exile, expect them to lean on crypto laundering using mixers, offshore exchanges, and stablecoins to clean money before pumping it back into real estate. Larwood's profile makes him the natural fit to run that desk. Pair that with cyber fraud. Mafias across Europe are already hiring hackers. Phishing campaigns, SIM swaps, and fake investment scams are all low-risk, high-return crimes. Jamieson, with his Spanish and South American ties, could bolt that digital income stream onto the drug routes. And then there is the rise of synthetic drugs. MDMA, meth, and designer pills are produced in European labs, sold on dark web markets, and shipped by mail. It's discreet, scalable, and paid in cryptocurrency. McGill's TMJ gang was not known for subtlety in Scotland, but exile forces change. If he adapts, he becomes even more dangerous. Let's not forget human trafficking. Interpol has shown gangs now force victims into online scams, running call centers for romance fraud and crypto cons. These operations generate millions without a single street shootout. For exiled bosses, that's attractive. It's hidden, profitable, and global. All of this ties back to one brutal reality that Dubai is finished as their safe zone. The arrests, the prison stay, and the expulsion are a warning to every other fugitive. Now the future lies in Turkey, Spain, the Balkans, and South America. Each choice carries its own risk, and none of them guarantees survival. And that leaves one last problem. Back in Scotland, rivals haven't forgotten. The wound of the Fuengirola murder is still new. The Daniels clan is watching. Exiled or not, McGill and Lyons still have enemies, and enemies don't care what country you are hiding in. The war is moving. And the next chapter could be written anywhere. Could Ross Miami McGill and his crew actually walk back into Scotland? Legally, yes. The UAE didn't extradite them. They were expelled. That means they were put on planes and told never to come back to Dubai, but they were not delivered straight into the hands of Police Scotland. So technically, unless there is an active arrest warrant waiting, they could land at Glasgow or Edinburgh Airport tomorrow. But would that be freedom? Not really. Let's remember what's hanging over them. Operation Portaledge is still wide open. Since March 2025, more than 80 separate attacks have been tied to McGill's Tamo Junto gang. Police in Edinburgh and East Lothian have made dozens of arrests, but the crown jewels of the case are McGill, Lyons, Jamieson, and Larwood. If any of them set foot back home, they could be detained on sight. The Crown Office has made it clear that Scotland will prosecute if it can. The problem is evidence. Much of the feud has been coordinated over encrypted phones, just like the Kinahan cartel did before EncroChat was cracked. Without decrypted messages, proving that McGill ordered a petrol bombing or Lyons approved a shooting is almost impossible. That's why Dubai's decision to expel, not extradite, stings for law enforcement. Scotland gets no files, no testimony, and no direct pipeline of evidence, just the men themselves back on home soil. So what happens if McGill actually dares to return? First, he would be under 24/7 surveillance. Police Scotland would tail him relentlessly, and every associate he met would be photographed and logged. If he slipped back into the old neighbourhoods of Niddry or Easterhouse, it would light up the underworld instantly. Rivals would know he is back, and paranoia would spread. Remember, the feud has left too many bodies in Scotland. And it wouldn't just be rivals, McGill himself would be a target. Exile doesn't erase vendettas. If anything, it deepens them. Back in Scotland, he would no longer have the protection of Dubai's luxury walls or Turkish passports. He would be exposed. The Daniels clan, weakened but not broken, would see a chance to hit back. Kinahan-linked groups might also want to settle scores, especially after McGill split from old alliances. Then there is the community impact. For residents in Edinburgh who endured the TMJ attacks, the thought of McGill back on the streets is terrifying. Imagine living in a neighbourhood where cars were torched outside your home, bullets were fired through windows with children inside, and the man police say ordered it all suddenly reappears. Local councils, MSPs, and police chiefs would face intense pressure. They would need to explain why one of Scotland's most wanted can walk around uncharged. Legally, prosecutors could try to tie him to conspiracy charges, money laundering, or organised crime statutes. Remember, Larwood is suspected of laundering millions a month through Spain. Financial crime can sometimes be easier to pin down than street violence, but without cooperation from Spain or Dubai, it's an uphill battle. That's why returning to Scotland could be both bold and reckless. Bold, because it signals he doesn't fear arrest. Reckless, because one misstep, one wrong call, or one decrypted phone could end with him locked in Barlinnie prison for life. The bigger question is, would McGill and Lyons gain anything by coming back? On one hand, it would reassert control. Their presence alone could scare rivals, rally allies, and stabilise their grip on Scotland's cocaine routes. On the other hand, the gang war has already pushed deep into Europe. Spain, Turkey, South America, that's where the real profits are. Scotland, in comparison, is small, bloody, and heavily policed. By returning, they would trade global opportunities for local grudges. And there is a final danger: the public spotlight. Right now, McGill and Lyons are shadowy figures abroad. If they return, every move makes headlines. Every court appearance, every car they drive, every photograph outside a police station fuels the press. And in a war already drenched in media coverage, visibility can be fatal. Rivals track newspapers too. So, can they go back? Legally, yes. Safely, no. If they set foot in Scotland again, they would be trapped between two forces. The law, determined to put them away, and the underworld, determined to take revenge. For men who have survived on money, secrecy, and exile, stepping back into their homeland might be the riskiest move of all. Now, tell us, where do you think Ross McGill and his crew are heading next? Share your theories with us in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more updates. Goodbye for now.